We begin this broadcast with some big news coming in from Sri Lanka. The President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has now issued a gazette that prohibits anyone from being in public spaces. Anyone from being in public spaces like parks, recreation spots, railways, seashore, public roads and more, unless they have a written permission to do so. And this written permission needs to be granted by authorized officers. The development comes after massive public outrage in the island nation against their failing economy. There were also reports of mega protests being held tomorrow in the capital, Colombo, in view of which earlier today the government imposed a nationwide curfew and declared a state of emergency. This is, of course, big news coming in from Sri Lanka at this hour. For all our viewers tuning into WION, we have been tracking the economic crisis that is currently ongoing in the island nation. We've been talking to experts and politicians from across party lines to try and answer the question as to what's the way out of this economic crisis. Protests have been raging and unrest is also taking place across the capital as of now. Now, to tell us what's actually happening on ground, our correspondent Dasuni Athora is joining us now from Colombo on the phone lines. Dasuni, thanks so much for joining us. Now, this is big news coming in, the fact that the government has essentially issued a gazette or a formal notification banning anyone from being out on the streets unless they have written permission from authorities to do so. What does this mean for the protests that were planned earlier?
Yes, Priyanka, this indeed is big news, as well as this is very unprecedented, as we have not seen an issue or other notice in this regard being issued here in the history of Sri Lanka, especially in the recent past. Now, this gazette specifically says that no person shall be on any public road, railway, public park, public recreation ground, or any other public ground or the seashore without authorization until the curfew ends, which means it will be in effect until 6 a.m. on Monday. And if someone is to be on these public roads, they need to get written approval from security authorities and officials. Now, this is obviously because even though curfew was imposed at 6 p.m. today, there were reports and there were visuals of protests which were largely peaceful, of protesters gathering in their residences and surrounding areas to voice their dissent and disapproval for the present government.
Dasani, thanks so much for all those updates. It's evident at this point that the crisis is escalating in Sri Lanka. We will, of course, continue to track all the updates coming in from the island nation. Thanks for joining us at this hour on WION World is One. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.